and the knowledge you have shared. It means so much to us. And thank you again, Mr. Heath. So everybody, as I told you before, this is the last presentation in the morning session. But we still have the last panel discussion in the morning sessions. And right now we move to the panel 2, Unveiling Brand Safety Reimage, a toolkit for modern marketers. And in these sessions, our experts and panelists will talk about the importance of brands safety, the guardrails they follow, and recommend to the industry at large, and involving digital environments would make it even more imperative for one to harness the appropriate brand safety measures. And right now, please put your hand together to welcome on the stage the panelists, Mrs. Trần Thị Thanh Mai, General Director, Cantor Media Vietnam, Mrs. Châu Phan, Growth Hub Head Vietnam and Cambodia, Sanofi CIC, Mrs. Hoàng Thị Minh Ngọc, Chief Growth Officer from Chợ Tốt, and the moderator, Mrs. Jamie Wang, Head of Digital and Data MediaCom. And please welcome them on stage by a big applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be the moderator today, and I know it's approaching to the lunchtime, so I have my phone here just to ensure that I'll finish this session within 40 minutes. So please promise me you will stay here until we finish the session. And with that, I would like to say thank you for the panelists today, and I would like to have an introduction for our panelists across the different fields. So we have Zhao from Sanofi.
Hello everyone, my name is Xiao. Happy to be here. I'm from Sanofi Consumer Healthcare, a representative from healthcare industry to be here today.
And Ngo represent from brand, but also very interesting from the marketplace platform side.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Ying Ngọc. Currently, I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Chợ Tốt. Nice to meet all of you.
And finally, we have Mai from Kantar Media.
Hello everybody. Old face, new face. So you know that I'm heading Kantar Media. We do media research. We hope to share with you today some perspective from research company.
Welcome, everyone. So as we know, COVID has accelerated the digital growth adoption in the last 2 years. And I've been seeing a lot of the advertisers that they're spending more and more on digital media. And especially in this year, the digital ad spend will grow by 11% in this year, by end of this year. So with this rapid growth, there's also obviously a concern on the brand safety and brand suitability. And from a third-party point of view, how do you see like the brand safety evolving in Southeast Asia and especially in Vietnam?
I think that the pandemic has obviously affected our life, especially in terms of digital transformations. And it affected all aspects of life, including, brands, not brand. Say that consumer behavior. So not only the brands advertise more on digital, but consumer also consume more digital time than TV, than any traditional media. So consumer behavior changing, consumer preference also changing. So does brands. I think that they had to adapt. Therefore, I think that brand safety consideration also had to change. So we see, a big trend from people moving from what we call avoidance from malware, spam, or what you call that, like identity contents, like the explicit sex or whatever. And especially in Vietnam, we also having to move away from what we call content political sensitivities, because there are lots of it's a little bit different in the other more democratic markets. So Vietnam, the political content sensitivity is so quite important. But brands moving away from avoiding any size or any platform which having those kind of stuff become more what they call allowance. So that means the brands now are looking at brand suitability as well. Not only brand safety in the sense that keeping away from something which might be harmful for the brands, but being more selective in terms of which content is appropriate for me. So certain content on the digital platform is suitable for certain brands, but may be inappropriate for certain brands. So I think that is more flexibility, more adaptive to the changing environment.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because brand safety is actually a challenge across the whole ecosystem, right? It's not only particular for the advertisers, but also for the publishers as well. Different parties will have a different role to play. So as a leading healthcare brand, that'll be interesting. What is the approach that Sanofi is taking to ensure brand safety and suitability protection?
Thanks, Jamie, for the question. So, we all know that COVID pandemic has shaped the interest into healthcare significantly, right? So, as a healthcare organization, our mission and vision is to serve a healthier, fuller life for all the people. It's not just today, but for generations to come. So, brand safety is a must on our checklist. Not to ensure that we deliver our business sustainably, but it's also to balance the brand and coverage value as well as ensure our act is responsibly to the interests of our society. So medicine is unlike other consumer good products. It has immediate and direct impact to people's health. So we have to be extremely cautious in the way that we expose our ads to the consumer, and also to ensure that they get the right message at the end of the day. So to do so, to ensure that, we set our 5 golden rules, or we can say like golden step in implementing our brand safety at the organization level. And that bring out the whole matrix of, clients, media agency, and publisher collaboration. So we cannot just do that on our own. So what are the 5 steps? Step number 1, we already have like wonderful, incredible publisher, right? So why we have to do it on our own? So we rely on the support of the publisher. So within Sanofi, what we decided to do is we only partner with YouTube, Facebook, and coming next is TikTok, and we only choose to buy limited inventory. So that helps to string out on not so non-relevant contents that might wrongly associate with our brand and products. So step number 2, a little bit manual, but because we have our media agency, right? So another expert on the field. So with the help from our media agency, we also add another layer to ensure that we have like exclusive filter in terms of the non-sensitive content like keyword, such as like it's subject to the timing of the situation and where we want to implement our campaigns as well. For example, like for now, we're gonna filter on things related to Russia, Ukraine, etc. And the third one, why we have the competencies ready, right, from our agency. We also have to make sure that we set the clear KPI and scorecard to measure our brand safety. And once we set out the scorecard, we need to make sure that we measure that. So there is 2 types of measurement that we're actually implementing. The first implementation, which is step number 4, is we use third-party tracking. And to ensure that we track our brand safety score on monthly basis. And speaking of that, we are using IAS, so-called Integral Ad Science. And last but not least, we just cannot 100% rely on, even though our agency are super duper. But we have to make sure that we take our responsibility to make sure that we have a good return on investment and align and comply with what we actually set out in terms of the scorecard and the brand performance, right? So we do weekly tracking led by our internal media team with the media agency to measure our brand safety scorecard, and then on monthly basis with the attendance of the brand team to ensure that everything is on aligned. So those are the 5 key steps. As proven it working quite well for us because our brands are still safe till now. I'm happy to share the practice and also happy to learn from others as well. Maybe perhaps a platform like Jatot.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to hear from not only a brand perspective but also a platform perspective from Jodo, like how they are tackling this issue.
Yeah, because on Chợ we perceive that brand safety is actually reinforcing the trust between the brand and the user. Like Mai has said earlier, the safety needs to be for both users and the product as well. So the nature of our product is secondhand, and then a person can sell and buy from low value items like electronics or fashion, or high value items like a properties or a cars or a motorbike. So we need to accept that we can face the challenge of brand safety anytime, and we need to be proactive for that. So at Chợ we implement two key things. The first one will be how to control the ad quality, because every day we have a huge number of ads listed on our site by individuals like you and me, and also how to detect and minimize the false possibility for users, to prevent the abusive sellers to approach the buyer, etc. So for this case, we need to use both manual and AI ML-based machine technology to tackle. And secondly is the principle of user-focused mindset. So we cannot just go out and say that, hi, our brand is very reliable, let's use it to buy and sell, but we need to understand what are the core user problems when a user go along the journey of buy and sell, to really have the product refinements and to bring the customer experience for them. So those are two things, and I think that brand safety needs to come from a cross-team efforts. It does not need to come only from the brand, but it needs to work closely with product, data, tech, and so on.
And that's very interesting because you talk about a lot of the advanced technology to help you to improve the brand safety control. Can you just elaborate a little bit more about the machine learning and how you're using machine learning, how you use artificial intelligence with the data? And specifically, I think there's also a question coming as well, like, are there any specific tech systems or tools that Jodo is applying for this brand safety measure?
Okay, as mentioned earlier, we have a huge number of ad listing every day on the site. And currently, at this time speaking, we have more than 2 million live ads on our site as well. So how to control the ad quality, how to reduce the frauds. Normally, we definitely have an in-house robust system in order to set our own rules. We have the certain list of signals to detect the unique nature of the risk that we could face. And then we will layer on top the machine learning technology to help the people can analyze the data of sellers and analyze the data of the ads more accurately and faster. And beside the in-house system, of course, we need to work with the providers in the market as well. So we will audit, and then we will select the most veteran providers that can offer some sophisticated technology. And the important things is we need to implement the detection at the critical touch points. For example, when a person starts to create an account, or when a person starts to insert an ad. Those are the key steps that we need to apply a lot AI and ML.
Right. So what I heard from both Zhao and also Ngo sharing is there's actually no one size fits all approach. Like for different advertisers, they'll have a different custom approach for the brand safety measure. And I think it's fundamental practices are there already. Technologies are all in place, but still in today, we still see a lot of the media platforms, social platforms and content platform, they are struggling to block the negative content, fake news, hate speech. And I guess my friends from Google and Meta team, they will probably want to address this question, but will be interesting to hear from third party point of view, like why do you think this happened? And do you see there is a opportunity for improvement?
I would think that when you talk about brand safety, when we talk about suitability for the brands more than just only brands avoidance, then you're also looking at the local culture and local nuances. So I think that Google and Facebook's very, very big in Vietnam. You know that over 90% or 6% of people are serving Google or YouTube every day in Vietnam. And the same, very similar, over 90% people are using Facebook every day. So it's huge market for Google and Facebook. The content in these social platforms are user-generated content. So therefore, I think that user-generated content is very different from professional contents from the media, for example, because it's censored. The language they use much better. So in Vietnam itself, the Vietnamese language is not easy. So I think that even though huge tech company like Google or Facebook, they're very good at AI. They're very good at different technical issue or technical solution. But understanding a language, understanding the nuances of the country of Vietnam or local markets is much harder. So not saying that the Vietnamese language is a little bit different. We also have 6 different tones, and the way you're using language also, even you sometimes you think it's compliment, but in fact it's criticism. So in order for AI to work, you need a huge human resource to build the vocabulary before the machine can work. So AI doesn't replace human. So therefore, I think that's huge. It requires a lot of hard work, time, efforts, expertise in language to help Google or Facebook to be more, that respond to what they call brand safety. So it's the huge words, huge trend in the world with big brands, Nestle, P&G, Unilever, putting in together standard guide for brand safety. So the first question we talk about the aspect of brand safety. Now the world's talking about brand safety is safe for the advertiser. So it's not only for brands alone, also safe for consumers. They also talk about the responsiveness of the platform, how they correcting mistakes, how they dealing are more open in the transparency words to be more responsive and provide more safety for brands and consumers together. So I think that is why, in terms of languages, in terms of control, nuances, you need to be putting in practice.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because a lot of the time that we are adopting the global solution, but never think about, how this can fit into the local context. And that's why all these languages, culture need to be taken into account when we're implementing brand safety. But are you seeing, because it's a challenge, and do you also see there's any publishers, platforms, or any measurement partners that they are taking any small steps to improve this?
Pretty sure that Google, for example, are getting much better at the Vietnamese translation. So at least I think that they're working on that. See improvement. The only thing that takes time is not happen in one day. So I think that those, and I think that the Google teams also very fast in terms of reaction or responsive to comments. So for example, they say for just misinformation on the internet, on the Google site, the machine can only remove, less than 1 million posts or content. But by manually remove, that some people on a feedback or make comment, and then Google teams are making manually remove the content is over 1,700 million posts, just in terms of languages. So, that's global picture. But even for the local language, I think it's much harder for Google to remove, technically or automatically contents, which might contains misinformation or harmful to consumers.
Yeah, well, at least that's assuring to hear that, the publishers are taking a small step to address this. And I guess it's not just about implementing the brand safety, but a lot of the time, brands, advertisers, they will ask, like, after we implement the brand safety measure and control, what is the outcome? And recently, I have read this research from IS, and it's really interesting. It talk about how brand safety has a direct and indirect impact to consumer purchase decision. And in this research, it shows that 60% of the consumers, they are unlikely to purchase the product which is advertised next to the unsafe content or in the inappropriate environment. So it will be interesting to know for the brands that they have a consistent brand safety approach, a long-term vision. Do you see Sanofi, they have a impact, a positive impact on the business when implementing brand safety?
That I'm absolutely agree with the statement that you have just mentioned from IAS, because as a responsible healthcare MNC and with the clear vision of improving life and health of the people that we serve, whether it's in Vietnam or all over the world, so sustainable growth is the thing that we have been always looking for. So growth with us is not just the business growth. business growth will come hands in hands with the growth in terms of healthcare accessibility, condition, and understanding of the people. So our brand safety is right now scoring at 99.7% on monthly basis. So it's close to 100%. And I do believe that is have a translate to a business impact. So if you might witness last year, right, during the pandemic, a lot of the category is actually on the significant decline. Even people say that healthcare is on the rise, but it's not. Healthcare is also on the decline. But here at Sanofi, we managed to grow our top line, our share, our brand metrics, and also our bottom line. But it's not just for last year, and it's also continuing, this quarter and the recent quarter as well. So this is on. I'm not sure that it's have 100% reflection into the brands and the business performance, but I do believe that it has some indirect impact, positive indirect impacts to the business, not just short term but also long term. As long as we committed to stay true to the brand safety.
And what are the key metrics that are set to measure for the brand safety? Like, I guess this question can be answered by you or Ngok. What are the indicators when you are measuring, and how often do you measure and refresh the guideline, the policy?
For us, we will use both internal and external data in order to measure the brand safety. So specifically in-house, we will measure the quality and accuracy of the fraud detection mechanism through certain monitoring metrics, while externally we will use the brand tracker exercise, and we have the scoring on perception of user towards the brand attribute for us. But most importantly, like Joe mentioned, I mean that we can have a lot of metrics to tell us about our brand health, but what does it mean for our users? So it comes to how we measure the success of the users, how to make sure that they can transact safe and fast on our side. So we combine those two kind of hybrid mechanism. And we will measure it, of course, on a regular basis, daily, weekly, and monthly, depending on the metric.
Right. It's interesting. So I guess for when implementing back to what you just mentioned earlier, right, for the business outcome, the brand reputation, it's not something that we can build over one night or build over one campaign. It's a long-term it's a long-term relationship that you have to build with your consumers. And then I guess that when the trust relationship has built, your consumer will more likely to purchase the product, and therefore the business will grow. All right. So from your side, like, is there any recommendation, like when brands they are implementing the brand safety, what would be your recommendation to the advertisers today?
All right. So brand safety, I do believe is much easier for MNC to implement, because there is always a clear guideline, and also a very the readiness in terms of digital ecosystem, right? But then I do believe that for SME there is still a long ways to go, really, to balance between a consumer touch versus the brand and corporate value at the end of the day. And then it's also have to transition the brand safety within three key strategic pillars, which are, if I'm not remember correctly, then financials, brand reputation, and legal risk. And thanks for this great opportunity. Because of MMA put me on this topic of brand safety, I have to do my research. I listened to a lot of postcards from a brand safety expert around the world, and happened there is a guy from Group M saying, there are shifts around brand safety, and the major shift is actually happening on the channel, the consumer, the content, and also the policy. So, for the past few years, brand safety is not just brand safety. If you actually observe and then realize, brand safety is a reflection of a brand social responsibilities. And as a brand owner, I strongly believe that no matter what we do, we have to start whatever we do with a strong purpose. and constantly asking ourselves question why. So why we have to do that and why we doing that. That helps to guide our brand safety. In this topic in particular, it's gonna help to guide your brand safety on the decision around the brand safety, and in order to for you and the organization to achieve sustainable growth and also to be a responsible member of the society that we are on playing a part. And to be honest, in my opinion, there is no right and wrong, definite right and wrong answer when it comes to brand safety. But we all together, like brand owner, a platform owner, publisher, media agency, everyone, we should come together as from a different association to ensure that we create a healthy and safe environment, not just for our brands, but also for the user. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
May I
Sure.
add to Joe's? I think that, for big multinational company, if are members of World Federation of Advertisers, you probably know about the brand safety policy and toolkits very clearly. Because I think that's, they publish what they call the brand safety toolkits for all big brands. But for the local Vietnamese SME, if you are not the member of WFA, I would recommend you looking for, the brand safety toolkits or guideline on IAB, the International Advertising Bureau. They're also having the toolkits or guidelines, specifically for Southeast Asia or for a country like Vietnam. So I think it would help you to get a better framework for brand safety when you're talking about advertising online.
Thank you. Thanks, Mai. So it's very interesting about how we talk about the current situation, challenges that we are facing, and how technology can actually help the brand to solve these brand safety challenges. But what do you think will be the revolutionary shift? Where this would take us to? And what would be the associated implication for the advertisers, the marketers today, how we better prepare for the future?
I have some thought on this one. I mean that like recently the metaverse has been a buzz keyword for everyone. And in fact, it offers the opportunities for users, for consumers to go there and play or work or connect and even buy the products or services from those virtual space. So actually there are certain brands, especially in the games or entertainment, they have been on board with that trend. And sooner or later, every brand will need to, I think, experiment the ways to leverage these new trends to unlock the new segment of users. And we need to be mindful, but we need to be open at the same time to succeed.
Mai, would you like to?
I would say, so like Joe mentioned earlier, so when it's not only coming from the advertisers, coming from legal perspective, from business sustainability, and also, from platform, from media agency, from the whole industry, or the whole own stakeholder, putting efforts together on brand safety. So I would think that the big shift is happening now, actually, and people are talking about it and working about it. So basically, both Meta or Facebook or Google are now start open their, I would call them black box, sharing the data, try to understand it more with third-party company like ourselves research, try to understand their data, making sure that there's no hidden agenda behind the data they connected. And also on the global scale, we're working with Google as to put together what we call the cross-media measurement. So because measurement is also one part of the KPI for brands safety. So therefore, we're also looking at common measurement units so that we can understand, making both the offline and online what's being easy to understand for advertiser or for everybody in that sector. So I think that is happening now, and we hope that in a very, very near future, 1 or 2 years, then you will get a more recognized, standardized measurement of KPI for all campaigns across offline and online. And actually, in Kanta Media Vietnam, we started tracking advertising on the social platform. Not yet, we are tracking social, video, and display. And the first one that we are having data is on Facebook. So I was sharing with you some data which has connected. So alone in May, we see that over 5,000 advertisers on the Facebook network. And interestingly, out of that 5,000 advertisers, we don't see a lot. We see very few brands advertisement. But the biggest advertiser are the e-commerce platform, like Tiki, Shopee, Lazada, Sendor, for example. But it's also very interesting that, the way we define what we call the marketplace. So 95% of the advertising on Facebook are marketplace. So it's not, brand building, it's not, awareness. So we see a few brands, especially Samsung, advertising on Facebook, but not so much. When we're looking through the top 10s, we don't see big brands there. So probably there's a few things that pop is a bit of, because it's user content. It's also unique Vietnamese market. When Facebook, in fact, is a marketplace for us, not just a social network like elsewhere in the world. So that's why I think that when we're considering choosing the media vehicle, you also need to looking at local cultural nuances to understand the market.
Thank you, Mai, and that really nicely summarized our discussion today. We talk about the importance of the brand safety, what is the framework and approach that brands and platforms that they're following, some of the best practices, guideline, and how we measure the brand safety once we implemented it. From Giles and also mentioned about the outcomes and how everything is linking to the ROI and also the brand performance. And in the last question, we talked about the future of the brand safety, and Mai has shared a lot of the very insightful, great ideas. So we heard a lot of the great idea insight, and I really want to just extend my appreciation to the panelists today and also the audience who have taken the time out to join this session with us. And I hope you will be, leave this event at least taking a few of these great insight with you today. Thank you. Thanks. Because we still have 4 minutes, so let's. I just want to go through all the questions here and then see if there's any question that haven't been addressed previously. So I think for the first one, for the first and the second one, we actually have already addressing the our conversation already. I guess Zhao or Ngo, you want to share a little bit more about are there any specific tool or third-party partners that you guys are working with currently for a brand safety measure?
Maybe I tackle on the question about what Kyoto are using to build on brand engagement. So actually, brand engagement is, of course, one certain part is brand safety, and another thing is about the way we build the algorithm to recommend and engage with the users based on their profiles and based on their behaviors on our platform in the prior period of time. So that's one we will. We build it in-house in order to save the cost and also to leverage the talents of the data captured in our place as well. So that's one thing. And keyword here is personalization and ad recommendation.
Thank you. And I think most of these questions has been addressed. There's one question: should we track brand safety by contextual of the articles or only by the keyword? I think this question has been raised by the audience because previously Zhao has mentioned that 5 steps Sanofi is taking. And can you share a little bit more? Like currently, are you only using keyword exclusion or any other tactics other than that? Like, do you track contents by the PR articles as well? Like, how do you, apart from the contextual keyword targeting, like, do you use any content exclusion or topic exclusion to ensure the brand safety?
To be honest, I'm a little bit a dependent person from brand point of view. So just like I mentioned, number one, the biggest help is coming from a credible publisher, because they already, can manage already their inventory. So they have 3 types of inventory, if I'm not mistaken, like expanded inventory, a middle layer, and the most stringent one, most typical one, and a lots of filter is the limited inventory. So that limited inventory will have to filter everything like profanity, nudity, sensitive topic, everything there already. So we only place our ad within that limited inventory first. The second one is to also add another layer to do a manual filter from media agency to ensure that there's some sensitive keyword that the system might not be able to filter in local language, just like Jima mentioned previously. So we also have to make sure that it's actually in place. I also received a question, if I'm not mistaken, that there is someone asking that outside of Google, Facebook, are we considering another, and TikTok, right? Do we considering another platform? The thing is, their consideration is always there, right? Because at the end of the day, we're doing business, and we have to make sure that our investment have a good return on investment. But at the same time, we have to align with our brand safety commitment. So as long as you guys proven that, you can deliver a very high brand safety score, we have no problem. Like exploring another platform. So, for example, like GDN, right? So from Google, now they release, I'm not sure if this is an advertisement session for Google, but Google, they have new service called DV360, right? Now they can track brand safety on GDN. And this is, and with that, I'm happy to explore.
Thank you, Zhao. So I guess most of the question has been addressed, and if not, given the time interest and everyone's probably hungry this time already, so I would like to end the session here today. And then thank you again, all the panelists and also the audience. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all the panelists and the moderators, so we gain a lot of knowledge from the discussion. So everybody's now is officially closed the morning session of our event.